Ephesians 6:13, therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything, to stand. Ephesians 6:13. Hi, I'm Dave of Dave Ignite. Welcome, glad you're here again. And today we're going to complete segment 1 of the summer project. And I put back on my most summer looking shirt, at least the one I think is the most summer looking, and just getting these verses memorized this summer. Maybe you're watching this at a time other than summer. That's great, of course. This is a great project anytime. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 20, 11 verses, 10 weeks. You can do it. Ephesians 6:13. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything, to stand. Interesting phrasing here, but let's take a look at some of those important transition words. Anytime you see the word therefore, you of course want to figure out what it's there for, which means you need to go back and check what is just prior to this. So go back, review Ephesians 6, 10, 11, and 12, and that can help you know why is this there for. Why do we need to do this putting on the full armor of God? You'll find some good repetition there. Here is another one of those transition phrases or words, couple of words, so that. This is going to tell us why we're doing something. Do A so that B. In this case, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything, to stand. If you are finding value in these videos, I would ask if you would please click like, yes, subscribe. Last week I said something about the fact that 98% plus of the people who watch these videos are currently not subscribed. So I would just ask you to subscribe and ring that bell so you can get notifications when new videos come out. You may know somebody that you could share this with and it'd be helpful for, or maybe you're in a group and you can say, hey, here's a video to help us memorize this verse. Ephesians 6:13. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything, to stand. Well, got those repeated words, those transition words of therefore and so that. So let's look at some of those repeated words. Full armor. Now, it's not repeated in this verse, but as you review those therefore, the few verses ahead, you'll see that this is important. It's repeated a few times. So if the scripture's repeated, we want to understand it. We want to get it. So full armor, repeated word. Let's find out. What does that mean? Why is that repeated? Stand. It's repeated very much in this particular verse. What's it mean to stand? Obviously, it's not simply physically standing, but there's that idea, especially as you talk about the full armor of God, there's the idea of I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to stand. It's as though you're here and I'm going to stand. I'm going to put on that full armor and I'm going to stand. It's as though that lion, I'm facing a lion and he is about to just growl at me and try to scare me to pieces, and he's opening that mouth and letting out that huge roar, and the wind is blowing past me, and I'm taking my stand. I am standing. I've got the full armor of God on. Stand. Persevere. Or the day of evil. Ooh. So that when the day of evil comes. What is the day of evil? When is the day of evil? Are we in the day of evil? Now that might be a perfect place to just make a comment below. Is this the day of evil? Are we in the midst of it? Now, we've been hearing that for years, haven't we? That this is the end times or the day of evil, and is that even the same thing? We could talk about that. Put a comment below. We're supposed to put on that full armor so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything, to stand. He repeats that, to stand. There really is something important about this, being able to just stand, to be firm, be strong. Well, in the next few videos, we will actually be looking at the portions, the parts of the armor of God. This Ephesians 6, 10, 11, 12, and 13 set us up for that. Verse 13, let's hear it one more time. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you've done everything, to stand. Ephesians 6:13. Well, if you'll go back and review verses 10, 11, and 12, and now add verse 13, you're going to find that that's sort of like a first segment of this summer project. So let's repeat those. As a matter of fact, if you're doing 3x5 cards, which I have found to be very helpful for so long, I'll put that up there again real close so that you can just see that. And yeah, it doesn't have to look exactly like that, but something that you can keep with you and keep handy and work on your memory. Obviously I have the advantage of a whiteboard. Maybe you've got one. Every time you write it out, you learn it a little better. It goes a little deeper through that kinetic learning process. But get those first 4 verses now. It's amazing, isn't it? You've done 4 verses if you're this far along. Ephesians 6, 10, 11, 12, and now 13. And repeat those in group now. Do that in a group. Once again, if you are finding value in these videos, I would ask that you would click like, subscribe, click that bell so you can receive notifications when the next video comes out, and comment. And if you're in a group, share this with others so that they can benefit from just getting another avenue, another way of learning these verses. Until we meet again, I'm Dave. God bless you. May it be so.